Of Hosea, chapters 1 through 7, carry much of the narrative for the book itself. God uses Hosea in his life to carry a message for the nation of Israel. God tells him to marry, at very least, what is a promiscuous woman in Gomer. And that marriage, as well as the children that would come from it, would give a message to Israel and how she's to understand what's going on between her and God and all the idolatrous worship that has gone on and the very nature of God himself. So in chapter 3, there's this idea of remarriage after an adulterous affair, which goes a long ways to showing how God will deal with his people after exile and ultimately point to Christ in that there's a new creation, a new covenant that's being birthed, and even though there's much unfaithfulness, God is faithful to his bride. Bless you. In the back half of Hosea, chapters 8 through 14, there are many verses that need to be highlighted. The nature of the book itself discovers how sacrifices were insufficient, words and promises were insincere, and the entire book is summarized in the final verse, chapter 14, verse 9. Who is wise? Let him understand these things. Who is prudent? Let him know them. For the ways of the Lord are right. The righteous walk in them, but transgressors stumble in them. Now, this idea of negative consequences are made known in a very familiar verse, chapter 8, verse 7, and that someone sows the wind and reaps the whirlwind, as well as the very familiar verse of breaking up the fallow ground when it comes to chapter 10, verse 12. Also, the New Testament pulls from Hosea in a few spots, including messianic prophecy. Bless you.